Hey everyone, it's Lavender Moon here. Today we're going to do a really interesting spread. It is from the Enchanted Forest Tarot deck. Okay, and this deck is beautiful. It has a lot of ethereal, a lot of fairy tale imagery, and it's just really beautiful. And I really loved this spread suggestion they had, and so that's what we're going to do today. And this spread is based on the 9 of Challenges card. So if you look at this card, there is a young man, and he is kind of hovering or burrowed into this tree. And if you look at the rest of the card, there are lots of scary things. There's this tree, there's spiders, there's poisonous mushrooms, there's eyes, there's other things in the forest that I can't see with the card turned around. Oh, there's like a scorpion here. Full moon. So this card really represents fear. It represents how we often in our lives, when we're afraid of something, we hide away and we close our eyes and we pretend it's not there. And then sometimes we wake up and everything's sunny in the morning. The forest looks different. And sometimes we cower out of fear and we stay stuck. So this reading is based on this card. And what we're going to do is shuffle, and we're going to pull some cards, and we're first going to look at your fears. So what are you truly afraid of? And then within those same cards, so looking at the same cards of the fears, we're going to look at how can you overcome that fear? How is a way to view that in a positive light and get over the fears that you might have? So here we go. We're going to start shuffling, and I'm going to pull 9 cards, and we're going to find out what you're afraid of. Those fears that you hold deep down inside, and you hover. Why am I saying hover? You hide away. All right. Let me know what they need to hear about their fears. Fears. Ooh, there's a lot coming out here. I think that's just due to my clumsy shuffling. Let's try that again. What do they need to know about their fears? All right. 3. The deck. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. All right, we have Child of Visions, the Forge, 10 of Challenges, Keeper of Boons, the Ace of Visions, the 2 of Visions, 3 of Challenges, the 3 of Spells, and the 10 of Boons. Okay. So, first off, I will say what I'm getting from this is there's only one major arcana card, which kind of tells me that these fears that you might have are not necessarily those very obvious, straightforward, in-your-face fears, okay? And they might not be fears that you struggle with every day, but they might just be things that are hovering in your subconsciousness and around the edges of your conscious mind. And they're just there, and they bother you, but maybe they're not completely the big ones. But they're still definitely worth looking at, because even just trying to work through some of these will give you more fulfillment in your life. All right, our first card is the Child of Visions. So you might look at this card and think, like, what kind of fear is this representing? And what I would say, what I am getting from this, is that there is a little bit of a fear of spiders. No, I'm just kidding. There is a little bit of fear of losing your innocence. So it's not a fear so much in the sense of fear. It's a fear in the sense of loss and grief. Okay? This card usually represents really kind of a free innocence, happiness, an emotional openness. And I think that this card represents feeling, and maybe you feel that this is to your detriment, or you're afraid that this is how you're changing because of disappointments in your life, but that you've lost some of that childhood innocence and that emotional openness, and that maybe you're becoming too hardened and too closed off. So I think that's a real thing that happens as you get older, and it's something that keeps you from enjoying life to the fullest and relationships to the fullest. So that's what I'm getting from card number 1. Card number 2 is the Forge. And with this card, if you see, they're kind of doing metalworking. And so they're working around a lot of fire. So, I mean, you could quite literally have a fear of fire or have been burned in the past, but I'm looking at it more metaphorically as having been burned in the past. So you are afraid going forward in relationships that you're going to get burned again, or possibly going forward in a business venture or a creative venture, that you're going to put in the work and you're going to mold that sword or whatever your project is, that you're going to mold it and you're going to spend time with it, crafting it, and that it's not going to work out, and that you're going to get burned by someone, some experience, or something. So this card also speaks to me about disillusionment in a way. Of you don't even want to try. You don't even want to get these fires started and stoked because you don't want to get burned again. You don't want to lose what you created in those flames. It could also speak to a fear of lack of craftsmanship. Like maybe you don't feel, again, I'm speaking metaphorically, but maybe you don't feel like you would be able to work the metal into the shape it needs to be. So maybe it's a fear of a level of skill set that you feel like you don't have, or a level of expertise that you don't have, and that you can't balance it all to get it to the shape that it needs to be in. This card, 10 of Challenges, is speaking to me very highly of the fear of failure. This knight just looks utterly defeated, and he looks ashamed, like he's just given up. And I feel like this really represents that fear of a failure, of the fact that you might go forward on some kind of a quest, some kind of a goal or a vision that you had, and that you're gonna fail. That's very understandable. A lot of us have this fear. A lot of us have this fear with relationships, that if you try your hardest and you go full force, that you're just going to end up broken and alone with a bent sword by a tree. So fear of failure, fear of defeat in some area of your life. The Keeper of Boons. All right. So maybe you're scared of creepy looking men in a cave. That'd be a real fear. No, this is generally a pretty positive card. This guy's usually representative of, I mean, like, just great, like, wealth, hospitality, And so, having a little trouble. Let me get a message here. Let me get a message. What is the fear here? The message that's actually coming through for me is that you fear the fakeness of people like this. You fear that the people that welcome you, who are hospitable to you, who are really, they come across as warm and caring, your fear is that that's fake. And that they're kind of doing it at your expense, or kind of almost like they're ridiculing you. And you have a hard time accepting this generosity or good-naturedness from others because you feel and you've had experiences that people are fake and that this isn't real, that nobody could possibly be generous and happy and jolly and want to share their home with you and stories with you. I hope that's making sense. So you fear that those people in your life that you rely on to be stable and loving and caring, that they either won't always be there, or that they're fakeness or not genuine in some way. It's so funny. There's so many positive cards here. It's interesting the way they're manifesting as fears. Okay, so this one for me, I'm trying to get the white to show up. It's a swan, and she's looking into a lake. And nope, maybe, yes. Okay, there we go. She's got this tiara and sparkles and a necklace in her reflection. So what I would say in this one, it goes along with the first couple, is this fear of dreaming, a fear of wishing, a fear of hoping and dreaming and thinking that things can be better than they are. Because if you hope and dream, maybe you've had a failure, again, like the 10 of challenges, and you don't want to go through that pain again of realizing that this beautiful vision that you see that could be, that you have a hard time believing that. You have a hard time trusting that that vision could actually come true. A hard time believing that you're worthy of a change such as that. This kind of reminds me of like the ugly duckling story. And so to me it brings up, like problems with self-worth and believing that things could change for you, or that you're worthy of wearing a crown and a necklace, right? So some psychological fears here. It's really interesting. Okay, the Two of Visions, another very traditionally positive card. So the fear here, honestly, I get gossip really strongly. These two women have their heads bent together, and it's almost as if you walk into a room and you know they've been talking about you. I can see these images like slowly turning towards and looking like, I know your secrets. Yeah, we were talking about you. So this card definitely, I get a feeling of a fear of being excluded, being gossiped about, being left out, and also, you know, this card can represent soulmates, even though it's sometimes a friendship card, but it could also be a fear of not finding the person that you feel this way about. Often when we watch movies with scenes, romantic scenes, and we don't have anybody, we feel that sting, and it's almost as if we're watching either two best friends or two lovers, and we fear like that's never going to be us. So I'm getting a few different messages of fear with this one. The Three of Challenges. So this is a very Hansel and Gretel type card to me. And the fear here, I see a few different messages. I can see a message with these two characters. You fear being left behind. You fear being sort of, again, metaphorical, dropped off in the woods and being left to fend for yourself, and seeing someone that was supposed to love you walk away. You either experience that or you're afraid of that. I also could see the perspective of this character. You're afraid that you've made some wrong decisions or some unethical decisions, or that you had a hard decision to make and you made the wrong one. And so you have some regret, it's not a fear of regret, but it's a regret and a fear that you have done wrong by others. And that how do you fix that? The Three of Spells, another very positive card, or at least exciting one, but I can clearly see the fear here is the fear of putting yourself out there. The fear of putting your ideas into motion and sending them out into the world. You would much rather just keep these hidden and not take that chance, because you're afraid that they're going to get lost, they're going to get extinguished by outside forces. And so you have some creative ideas in you. Well, they don't have to be creative, but you have some ideas. You have a spark of passion, but you're afraid to put it out into the world. In a way, it's another fear of failure, but this is a little more, you're afraid to be vulnerable with that. You're afraid to really show what you're made of. And then our last fear here. Oh, again, I'm getting a lot of these types of feelings. Okay, this is the Ten of Boons, a wonderful card. However, I'm getting a feeling similar to this one. This is a feeling of, well, this card is a feeling of acceptance and happiness and coming home. But your fear is always being outside. So if you look in this card from this perspective, you are still outside. So I'm getting strongly the fear of you're just not quite able for some reason to go inside and join the party or the family or the group, the community. There's something holding you back. Some kind of fear of, again, maybe you feel unworthy. Maybe you feel like you wouldn't be accepted if they got to know you. But you feel almost as if, yeah, that invitation is right there, but I just can't take that step inside. Maybe you've been hurt too many times. And even though someone is beckoning you in to their lives with open arms and salutes, right? You just can't quite step through that door. So maybe this also speaks to some emotional blockage that prevents you from being able to step over that threshold into somebody's life. Okay, so those are all the fears. Now let's go through and talk about what these cards say about how to kind of work through those fears. All right, let's start with our Child of Visions. Okay, so for me, this card is very clear, and it's saying you need to renew that childlike wonder and innocence. If you feel like you've lost it, find a way to renew it. Go barefoot in the rain, literally. Dance around in the rain. That's super freeing and silly, but it's very childlike. But try to renew that sense of wonder, that sense of trusting others, and believing that others are generally not out to hurt you. Obviously, you've learned some life lessons, and I'm not telling you to go out there and just put your head down for the slaughter, but try to at least live in a world where those happy things and trust is a possibility. The Forge. Work hard, okay? If you don't feel like you have the skills, start at the bottom and learn them. I'm sure all of these guys had to start as an apprentice, and they had to learn the skills to be these master metalworkers. So if that's your fear, learn the skills necessary, okay? If you're afraid of getting burned in a relationship, know that sometimes that's part of the job. Sometimes it is part of being in a relationship that you get burned. Sometimes it's a big burn, but sometimes it's a little burn. But if you don't ever get in the forge, then you never get the sword, okay? I'm using some silly comparisons here, but I think it's making sense, okay? So you can't get any benefits if you don't put yourself in the situation to experience things. So you have to go try. The 10 of Challenges. Fear of failure. You gotta, really. Super silly. You gotta get back up on the horse and ride again, okay? You have to. You have to realize that failure is part of it, okay? Maybe instead of him being broken and defeated, he's just kind of thinking, right? Maybe turn it around. He doesn't need a sword. Maybe he's got an extra back there, okay? His horse is still alive. He's still alive. If you fail, you fail. But get back up and try again. It's part of life. It's part of life, and it's going to make you stronger. The Keeper of Boons. Do your best to remember that some people really are genuine, and some people really are able to embody that spirit of loving and kindness and acceptance. So remember that there are people like that out there, and cultivate this within yourself, because a lot of times what we fear in others is what we fear in ourselves. So if you have a hard time trusting people, then you put that on others. And so I'm not explaining this very well, but if you think that someone is being fake to you, maybe it's because you're being fake to others. Maybe not consciously. But cultivate, that sense of love and light and happiness and sharing within yourself, and I think you'll be more readily able to accept it when you see it in other people. And then connecting with someone like that is just an amazing experience. Someone who truly loves life and loves people. Believe you're worthy. Have faith that your wishes and your goals and your desires and dreams, they'll come true. They can come true, okay? They might take a hard work. They might take more than just looking in the mirror and imagining it, but you have to start with that faith and that belief that it can happen. You are worthy. You are a beautiful swan. Okay, so all about self-worth. Work on self-worth if you struggle with it. Do what you can to improve it and to start having some faith in yourself and faith in the universe. 2 of Visions. Look for that kindred spirit. And believe that there is a kindred spirit out there for you. If you're feeling left out or alone, or you feel like people are talking about you, turn around, walk away from that, and walk to somebody that you do trust and somebody that you know loves you. It could be a parent, could be these are females, so I'm thinking mother, sister, best friend, somebody that you can share things with. This could also be a male as well. But seek out that energy. Seek out people you know you can trust, who you know love you, and who you can share your secrets with. And cultivate those relationships and walk away from people that are negative or gossipy. The 3 of Challenges. For this card, I think it's about a couple things. One is try to make the best decision at the time. You can't go back. You can't go back and fix it once it's been done. You can try. You can try to make amends, and if, like in the Hansel and Gretel story, the hunter does get reunited, or whatever he is, the dad gets reunited with the kids at the end. And it does turn out to be a happy ending. And so just remember that even though you regret it, it did happen, and things will work out how they're supposed to, and hopefully it will work out in a way that you're okay with. And if you resonated with these characters more, I think it's about knowing that no matter what you go through in the forest, in life, that you will come out, okay? You will come out on the other side, and you will have defeated your witch, and you will make it back home. Okay, so even if you're left alone, you can find ways to make it through. And just like in Hansel and Gretel, they were kind of guided by that white bird back home. So look for guiding lights. Look for guiding forces in your life to guide you back to a home. Okay? With this card, you've got to put your stuff out there. You've got to put your ideas. You've got to share them. If you're thinking of starting a business, you've got to get it together and share it and start spreading the word. If you're passionate about a cause, spread the word. Share your ideas. If you are in a classroom and you never speak out, but you always want to, share your ideas. Put your energy out there in the world and see what becomes of it. And our last one, the 10 of Boons. Take that step. These people, so whoever they represented when you saw this card first, they want you in their life. They want you, they're beckoning to you, they're playing music, they're saluting you, they're welcoming you into this situation or community or relationship. They want you there. Look for those signs that they're welcoming you, and take that step and get over that fear and step into that situation, community, relationship. And once you're inside, you're going to feel warm and fuzzy and really happy that you did. Okay. So that's my reading for the 9 of challenges, for your fears and how to overcome them. So just as we see in this card, we can imagine that the boy eventually falls asleep and wakes up in the sunrise, and the spiders are gone, the tree is just a tree, this little thing is gone, and maybe the mushrooms have been stepped on, so they're gone as well. But the point is he's got to get through this night and this fear, and he's got to work himself up his courage to get up out of that tree and to keep journeying forward. So I wish you the best of luck. I hope this video resonated with you. See all my information below if you would like to purchase this deck for yourself, or if you have a personal question. I offer personal readings, and my link is down below. We can explore your fears some more and how to address them, or if you have any other queries. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day.